learn about Linux. So how many of you got successfully installed an Ubuntu virtual machine? Can you raise your hands? Okay, so those who have successfully installed it can actually practice the commands then and there when I teach you. So anyhow, you need to actually remember these things, remember these commands, because throughout the program you will be learning these. You will have to learn, use these commands, and use Linux as well. In some practicals, you need to install things, you need to configure things, maybe you need to do the practicals through the Linux and so forth. So okay, one more thing. My lessons actually, generally when I teach, I want every student to take part in the lesson. So I'm not recording them, and I won't provide you any recorded videos as well. So if you have any questions, actually you can ask in the class, or you can ask in the forum available in the relevant course module, right? So so when you ask a question in the forum of the relevant course module, then whoever knows the particular lesson, a particular problem, answer to the particular problem, would give the answer as well. So if that answer is incorrect, then I'll jump in and I'll correct them. So and there could be lecturers who would record and give, that is actually optional. Uh, there are lecturers who don't give notes even, or who don't give recordings. So you have to take the notes. So every time you come to a lesson, you need to have a pen and pencil, pen or pencil with you, together with a notebook, or whatever the media you would like to take notes on. Right. So that's the way that I'm going to conduct these things. Um, and also, those who have not installed this, you need to go through the videos and install it as soon as possible. Because when it comes to labs, you need to have some practice on this. So to practice it, the best way is to learn Linux and practice it is to use it, right? So once in a while, if you are going to use it, it does not help much. You have to use it daily, to at least let's say 1 hour or 30 minutes daily basis, to get it started going, and to get familiar with the commands, at least the basic commands, so that you can use it comfortably throughout the program. Right. So for the time being, those who know to SSH into the VM, they can SSH, or otherwise they can use the terminal itself. In the terminal window, those who have installed desktop version, they can bring up the terminal. Those who have installed the server version, they already get a console. So you can log in with the username and password, and you will get the prompt. So in that prompt, you will be executing the commands. Right. So I'm not going to teach you about the interface. So I will give you a video to learn about the interface and how to go about the Ubuntu interface, do a few things and so forth. So we will be learning the commands. You are going to familiar with these two sessions actually, today and tomorrow, the commands that you can use to control the system and use the system, right? Which is useful when it comes to the Linux configurations and the practicals that you're going to do. Right. So first of all, uh, let's okay. Let's discuss about a little bit about Linux. Let me share a presentation. Okay, can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. So, uh, so to get started, let's answer the question, why GNU Linux, not Linux? What is GNU? The basic things. Actually, Linux is the kernel of the particular GNU Linux operating system. Now, if you are a Windows user, Windows also has have a kernel. Windows also has a kernel uh, that some of you may be aware of it, some may not aware of it, right? So in Linux, it is clearly separatable, but in Windows, I don't know how to separate it. It's kind of inbuilt, and even the UI you can't separate. The UI is also part of the bundle. But when it comes to Linux, you can separate the components. Like you can separate the UI if you want. If you can't, you don't have to install the UI and use it, and so forth. And even if you want, you can get the kernel and compile it and install it in a hardware and add the packages and libraries one by one and use it as well. So that's the hard way of doing it. Anyway, so the Linux kernel was built by a person called Linus Torvalds. So he used actually a few tools from a project called GNU project, and the compilers, libraries, things like that he used from that. So so by the time the Linus Torvalds built the Linux kernel, all the other components required to compose an operating system were there as part of the GNU project. So what people does was actually what people did was they uh, took the tools from the GNU and got the kernel from Linux and combine it and use it as GNU Linux, right? So that is why we call it GNU Linux, not Linux. So what is GNU? GNU is actually a project started by Richard M. Stallman, who is a very significant role when it comes to open source movement or open source software. So GNU stands for GNU is not Unix. G stands for GNU, N stand for not, U stand for Unix. GNU is not Unix. So this is a recursive acronym where every time the abbreviation comes in the descriptive or longer version as well. Right. So what is a GNU Linux distribution? Now, when it comes to Windows, you don't get distributions. You get versions. It could be Windows, let's say 95, 98, and 2000, blah, blah, blah. And it comes Windows 7, 8, 10, 11. So you don't get actually distributions because it is a proprietary software. So no one can, contribute to it. But when it comes to GNU Linux, it's open source and so many people, so many organizations contribute to it. So because of that, there are even for same kernel, same GNU versions, there are different flavors like distributions. You get Ubuntu, you get Debian, you get Red Hat, and there are so many distributions like that. So in this particular program, we mostly use Ubuntu, which is very versatile and which is very rich with tools, and when it comes to the comes to compatibility, it is very compatible with most of the hardware that we have. So we are going to use Ubuntu 22.04 mostly. We are not going for 23 or 24 versions because uh, we consider that 2204 is more stable than those. But after a few years, they will become stable as well. So GNU Linux architecture. So in the GNU Linux, the core is the kernel, and then you have applications interacting with the shell. So it's like you have kernel, and you have a shell layer interacting with the kernel. So any application who wants to call the kernel to get something done should go through the shell. So anyway, if you didn't understand that, don't worry about it. That is not needed for you guys. Okay, where you can install GNU Linux. When it comes to Windows, actually, the installation locations are very limited. If you have installed Windows, then you might not install it in anywhere. How many of you have installed Windows? Raise your hands. How many of you have installed Windows? Okay, okay, lower your hands. So uh, so Windows you can install in a hard disk, but uh, I don't know, you know the limitations when it comes to installation of Windows. You have to install it in a partition which is located near to the zero sector, which is let's say primary partition or first primary partition, which is located near to the zero sector, or whatever a disk, whatever partition actually located near to the zero sector. So that was a limitation till the recent partition table comes. But nowadays it's a little bit flexible, but part of the OS will always be installed near the zero sector. But when it comes to Linux, you can install it in more or less any place. You can install it in a USB device. You can install it in a external drive. You can install it in any partition. It is not restricted to primary or extended logical or whatever, right? So so we are not going to discuss about these partition tables and so forth, because you will be extensively learning about it in the course digital forensics, right? So and also when it comes to GNU Linux, it comes with a CD. We call this CD a CD or DVD. We call this a live CD or DVD. Why this live CD? Because now when you're going to install it, before you install it, if you boot it to the live CD, you can check if the hardware is compatible with the particular operating system or not. But when it comes to Windows, you don't have that such options, and I have not heard about Windows live CDs as well. So how live CDs work and how to use live CDs as a tool and so forth, again, you will be learning in digital forensics in second year first semester. Okay, where we can find software for GNU Linux. Now, when it comes to Windows, you might find it from different, like let's say vendors, like let's say if you might find some software from Adobe, some from Microsoft, some from some other vendor, right? And you will collect software from different places and different vendors. But when it comes to Linux, there's a concept called software repositories, where you have a particular place with more or less many software that you need in to cater your day-to-day requirements. So what you have to do is uh, uh, just configure any particular repository and install it. So we'll see if we can go through a few steps like that to install software. Anyway, you will be learning how to install the software in Ubuntu Linux. Okay, where is GNU Linux documentation? Now, when it comes to Windows, how do you learn Windows? It's quite tricky. It's not, I mean, you can't learn it by yourself sometimes, but naturally you experiment with it and learn it to a certain extent. Otherwise, you have to get trainings. But when it comes to, oh, maybe Google it. When it comes to GNU Linux, when you know a few commands, then you can exploit within the system without going to the internet as well. Because there's a concept called having man pages or having manual pages for each and every command. So when you go to a manual page, you can see what that command is capable of and what are the options that you have uh, to use with that particular command. So we'll again go through a few examples on that. Okay. Then you have few concepts to remember when you're using GNU Linux. In GNU Linux, everything in GNU Linux is a file. For the time being, let's keep it aside because you will eventually learn it when you're using it. And when it comes to Windows, Windows is case sensitive, which means now let's say you are creating a folder called ABC. So if the A is capital, B and C are simple, it is different from if all the three letters are capital. So it understands Linux operating system, GNU Linux operating system understands the capital letters and simple letters and distinguish between those two. When it comes to Windows, until quite recently, it is not case sensitive. So you can't use the case of the letter to distinguish a particular name. So now I'm not sure whether it is case sensitive or not now, but until quite recently it's not. And when it comes to Linux, command line interface CLI is your ultimate weapon. Most of the things that you need can do using GUI, you can do it using command line interface, right? So that is the benefit of having it. And I don't know whether you know this or not. Most of the servers running in the world are using Linux, right, as their operating system. Even I think Microsoft Windows guys host some of the services in Linux. So that is how robust that system is. Uh, so it is very beneficial to learn Linux. So best practices. Now, when you are creating a directory in Windows, you use like the default name would be new space folder, right? So don't do that. So it's not a name, it's two words actually, right? New is one word because it is delimited or separated by a space character. The second folder is another name. So there are two names there. So it's a very let's say it's a little sentence or something like that. If you want to use multiple words, connect them using an underscore or hyphen, right? So the name is uh, looks like a single string, and we'll have a demonstration on that as well. Why we need it in that way, and don't spoil GNU Linux directory structure. So again, we learn it. Okay, so before going any further, uh, do you have any questions? Any questions? All right. So then let's start using this. Anyway, I'll share the slide set with you so that you can, practice it. And I'll give you a small book with activities and all, so that you can practice it offline as well. Right. Let me see. Let me check if I can share this. All right. So can you guys I think I shared things, so I want to share the terminal. Yeah. Okay. Can you see my terminal? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You know,
All right. So let me first create a DA. Okay. Right. Um, when you first log in to your system, those who install would know what is login.
right.
Login means, right? So, when you install the system, let me share that as well so that others would know what that means. Okay. When you install system in your virtual box or any virtualized environment, and when you boot it, it will stop in a console like this, right? So how many of you got to this point? Those who installed? Okay. So others, by at least by tomorrow, others have to install this, because tomorrow also I'm taking the lesson to continue with this Linux. Right. So lower your hands. So if you are not using any SSH tool, which actually I will give you a YouTube video to install SSH and how to connect to this after today's session. So until that, some of you may be using this as your console. So you have to log into the system. Now, when you're installing it, you have to give a username and a password. So use that username. In my case, it is Kenneth. Use that username and password to log into the system. Right now, I am logged in to the system. Right. So as you can see, the prompt. So we call this the prompt. Right. The prompt is stopped, and it's there's a blinking cursor there. Right. So just before the blinking cursor, prompt has ended with a dollar sign. Right. Prompt has ended with a dollar sign. Generally, the dollar sign means in a not customized environment, the dollar sign means you have logged in as the regular user. You have logged in as a regular user, right? So one by one, you might have to write down the commands that I'm telling you. So which user you have logged in, you can find it by using the command who am I, right? Who am I? Okay, clear? So then we learn how to become the root user. Now, who is root? Now, when it comes to Windows, you have the administrative user, right? You have the administrative user. So in Linux, the administrative user is called the root user. So any questions? Any questions? Okay, right. So how to become a root user? So there are two ways. I will teach you one way, right? For the time being, I will teach you one way. So this is the command that I am using to become the root user. Sudo bash, right? So there are different ways of becoming root user, and there are differences in those methods as well. So depending on the situation, you might have to use the different way, the other ways. But for the time being, I am using this command, right? Sudo bash. So it will ask again for your password for user Kenneth. And when you type the password, you will become the root. Now if you can see, the prompt has changed from a dollar sign to hash. So when you have a hash as the prompt, then it means you are root user, right? So if you type who am I, then it will tell you that you are now the root user. So root user means the super user in Linux environments. Okay, is it clear? Is it clear? Raise your hands if it is clear or clear up to this point. Only 13 says clear. Why is that? If it is not clear, you can ask questions. Okay. Right. So to get out from any prompt, whether it is the root prompt or regular user prompt, you can type exit, right? You can type the command exit, right? So I'm going slowly because you need to write this down and practice them later as well. All right. Okay. Now, the first command we are going to learn today is ls. ls. ls means list. The meaning of the command ls is list. So it will list the files and directories in the current directory, which is present working directory. It will list the content of the present working directory. How do you find your present working directory? The command using the command pwd, present working directory. So it says home Kenneth. So we'll learn later what does it mean by home and what is this Kenneth and so forth, right? Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, raise your hands if it is clear. Only 10 has raised. 16, 17, 20. Okay, right. So, I told you that the documentation is there within the system as manual pages, right? So, how you access these manual pages for a particular command. Now, the syntax for that is there's a command called man, right? And then as a parameter, you give the command that you need to look the documentation of, right? Man as the parameter, you give the command and you can press enter. And then you will get to the manual page of the ls command. So the name of the command is ls. What it does, list directory contents, right? So the description is there, and the synopsis mean the usage of it, right? And we'll see a few usages. And what is listed is the options that you can give to this particular command to get things done, right? So in this manual page, now you have to navigate this manual page, right? So to navigate it, you can press the letter J to go down, right? So one line by one line, you can go down by pressing the character J. Okay. By pressing the character K, you can go up. By pressing the character J, you can go down. By pressing the character K, you can go up. Right? Okay. Is it clear? Raise your hands. How about the rest? Okay,
Can
right.
you please repeat the command?
Yes. Now, if I come back from the beginning, the command is man ls. Man parameter is ls. There should be a space character in between. Okay. Command is man. Man means manual pages. Space parameter is the command we need to know the details of, right? So that is man space ls. So when you press enter, right, it will execute that particular command, right? When you press enter, execute that particular command get executed and you will get the manual page. So the content of the manual page gives you the name of it, this synopsis, which means the basic syntax of using it, and description and so forth, right? So you can see this option and file are, those two are in square brackets, within square brackets. Within square brackets means those are optional. Without those, you can use the command. Now, without anything, we can use ls command, right? So if the arguments that you need to pass to the command or parameters that you need to pass to the commands are optional, then they will be uh, uh, illustrated in the manual page within the square brackets, right? Okay. So to navigate this particular manual page, to go down, you can press J. To go up, you can press K. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Now, let's say you need to search. You need to search something. Right. So, if you need to search something, you can type // and then let's say you need to search for the word all. You type the word all. You first type the // and then type the word that you want to search. In my case, I'm searching for all. The word all, right? And when you press enter, it will highlight all the occurrences, right? It will highlight all the occurrences. By pressing N, you can go to the next occurrence. By pressing capital N, you can go to the previous occurrence. By pressing N, you can go to the next occurrence of the search result. By pressing capital N, you can go to the previous occurrence of the search result. Is it clear? So that is how you navigate and search in manual pages. Is that clear? Raise your hands. Okay, so how to get out of this? Now it says press Q to quit or exit. You can press Q to exit. You can press Q to exit the manual page, and you will be back in the command line prompt. Right? Clear? Okay. So I'm going to share my command line terminal for my convenience so that I can see your chats and all the things. Okay. Now is this window clear? Can you see this? Terminal. Let me increase the size. How about now? Is it clear? How many of you see it clearly? Can you raise your hands?
I can't see the screen.
Cannot see anything, sir.
Cannot
Can't
see.
see, sir.
Let me
Black is sharing.
okay. Oh. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, now.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So so let's learn a few variants, or let's try to pass a few parameters to the ls command, right? So we learned about the ls command. It will list the contents of a particular directory, and we learn the present working directory command where we can find the present working directory. There's a command that I frequently use to, clear out my viewing space. by using clear. I just, refresh the browser so that I can have a clear screen. Right. So when you type ls and specify the parameter -L, it means a long list, right? It gives you a long list. So the long list contains these things, permissions, which you are going to learn as part of the module 1201, principles of cryptography. So you have this permission part, and this you don't need it right at the moment. Then owner group, again you will be learning it later, and the creation date and the file name, right? So now as you can see, there are few differences in these letters when it comes to different files. So you will learn how to read these things as part of the module principles of cryptography, right? So this is the command we used. So this is the output of the long list. Okay, let's see. I want to list the long list to a particular file. Now let's say this XYZ PDF, right? We want to long list the list XYZ PDF. So we can use the command ls, pass the option -L. Now note that when you are passing it, every time you have to have a separation by using a space character. So then you use the file name XYZ, right? And then press enter. You will see the long list of that particular file. Now, if you do it like, let's say, ls-l without having spaces, it is an error because there is no such command. You have to do it in the correct way. Okay. Now, everything is there. Every time you pass arguments or options, there is a space character separating them. Okay. Right. Okay, let's learn how to create a directory, right? So you can create a directory by using the command mkdir, right? A directory of folder, in your words, folder. By using the command mkdir. So let's say I'm going to make the directory MC2024, right? The directory name is MC2024. So let's execute it. Now here you can't see any directory called MC2024, right? Now let's type ls and you will see that MC2024 directory is there here, right? So this is the command that you use to create a directory. Okay. So let's say you want to go to this particular directory. Now you want to access some files or create some files within this directory. So you want to go to that particular folder or directory. So you can use the command cd, which means change directory to the particular folder or directory name, right? MC 2024 in this case as a parameter. So that you can see in this prompt as well, you are in this directory, but you can actually verify it by using the command present working directory. So you are previously you were in home Kenneth, now you are in home Kenneth MC 2024, which means the MC 2024 directory is within the Kenneth directory. Is this clear up to this point? Raise your hands. Okay. Now let's try to create multiple directories. mkdir A, B, C, D. I want to create a directory called A in within MC 2024 directory, and within A I want to create a B. Within B I want to create C. Within C I want to create D. So I want to create basically a directory hierarchy, right? Directory hierarchy. So if I press enter, it says you cannot create it, right? But actually you can create it. Only thing is we didn't say that we want to create it in this way. So there is an option called option minus P. So you know how to find the man page now. If you want to know the description of the option hyphen P, you can go and see that as well. So mkdir, then space character, option hyphen P, and then space character, the directory hierarchy we want to create. And when I press enter, and when we list it, okay, we can see ls in the directory MC 2024. So A is created. Let's see if we can see B, directory B within A. ls A. Okay, B is there. ls A B. Okay, within B we can see C. ls A B C. Within C we can see D. Right? So for ls command, you can pass a particular directory as well and see the content of that directory, right? So that is what I did here. Okay. How many of you understand up to now? Okay, good. So we learned a few commands now. Who am I? ls, mkdir, clear, cd, pwd. So let's say I'm going to create another directory. Let's say mkdirx. So let's say I want to remove x. So it won't allow me to remove the directory. So the command used to remove something, file or directory in Ubuntu GNU Linux is rm. So if you are removing a directory, you have to tell the command recursively remove it. So you have to pass the parameter -r and then the directory name. So remove space -r, then space directory name. So it will remove the directory. Okay. So you know the command remove now. Right? Let's say okay, let's go there later. Right. Now, when you delete something in Windows environment, generally it goes to recycle bin, right? And if you, let's say, accidentally deleted something, then you can recover it by going to recycle bin and getting it back. But in Linux remove command, you don't have a recycle bin. If you remove it, that is removed. So you have to take the responsibility of your actions. So if you remove it, that's removed. But of course, you can recover it. How you can recover such things, such files, directories? Again, you will learn those things in second year first semester course, Digital Forensics. Okay, how many of you understood it? Raise your hands. Okay, so let's take a quick 5 minutes break and come back. Okay, so that you can refresh yourself for 5 minutes, and we'll start again. And files. Now let's go to the home Kenneth directory, ls minus hyphen a. So as you can see, the difference of the outputs. Now the ls command output is this, but when the ls hyphen a command output is quite different. So as you can see, there are files starting with dot, files and directories starting with dot, right? So those are hidden files and directories, right? Those are hidden files and directories. So when you list the present working the contents of the present working directory, you don't see them. You have to pass the parameter or pass the option hyphen a to see those. So these two, single dot and double dot, it does have a meaning. So let's see. CD MC 2024 ls minus a. So if I long list all files, you can use the combined options hyphen al. So to long list all the files, you can see these are directories. So this D stands for directory. So all these are directories. Single dot, double dot, and A. All these are directories. Now let's go to this. Now our current directory is present working directory is this. So let's go to dot. Now our current directory this. Again go to, let's see, ls hyphen a. Let's go to dot. So this dot means actually the current directory, right? So when you change the directory into the current directory, you are in the current directory. No change, right? So let's see the meaning of the double dot. We change directory. Now the current directory is this. It is in this directory, which is under this, which is under this, right? So let's go change directory to double dot. Now the present working directory is this. The directory above this. The directory above this directory. So what this double dot means is the above directory, the directory before, right? Is it clear? Raise your hands. Is it clear? Okay, right. Now, now we are in this directory. Let's copy something from this directory to our newly created MC 2024 directory. The command that you can use to copy something in terminal is cp. cp, let's try to copy this xyz file, xyz to our directory MC 2024. So as you can see, now let me tell you something. What I'm doing here is when I type a directory, I type, okay, let's see, command cp, I type x and then I type tab. So it will automatically complete the rest of the file name because there is only one file starting with x, right? Then I type MC. And if I type tab, nothing happens. If I type tab again, it will show the options that I have, right, as names. So I want to, it asks whether I want to go to MC or I want to go to MC 2024. So if I type 2 and press tab, it will auto-complete the rest. And ending slash as well. So that slash means you are copying something into that directory, right? So let's press enter and let's go to that directory and list. So you can see the copied file. Is this clear? Raise your hands. Okay. So let's copy this XYZ file to something called abc.pdf. Right. Now we have two files. If we want to remove ABC, you don't have to pass the parameter -r because it's a file. You can remove it and it's gone, right? So there is no recycle bin. It's gone for good. Okay. Right. So let's say I want to rename XYZ. So renaming means if I give you a different meaning for renaming is moving a file in the same directory from one name to another. That is renaming. Renaming means you are moving a file from one name to another name in the same directory. So use the command move xyz to abc.pdf. So I want to rename XYZ into ABC. So I move XYZ to ABC. That is how you read this command. I move source file, destination file. Here copy also. I copy source file to this destination file. Here again copy source file to this particular destination location. So let's execute this. And if you see, the file has renamed. Okay. So is it clear? Raise your hands. Okay. So, all right. So we'll try to install something, right? Install a particular software. So before installing, you need to get updates from the repository to get the most recent software that are available on those repositories. So I told you that unlike Windows, you don't have to, go here and there to find software. You can find it using a concept called repository. So generally, when you install Ubuntu repositories, default repositories are already configured. What you have to do is you have to update them. So to update, there is a command. So to update them, actually, you need to be the super user. So to update them, you can use the command sudo apt update. Sudo apt update. So this will update or get the updates, or let's say updated list of in the software to your machine, right? It will not download the entire software, but it will download a list of software. It's only a list, a few text files that contains the updated list of software. So question, let me check. Can you share these commands? Actually, I will share the presentation. It contains those commands, so you can use them. Okay. Apt update, sudo apt update. So let me execute this. So it will ask me the password. So it will get the updates. As you can see, its updates are 129 kilobytes. It's very small text file, what you get, right? So let's say you need to get your system into the, you need to install the updates available for your software. Now you have installed some software in your system already. So you want to get updated all of those software based on this update. So then you can issue the command sudo apt upgrade. So sudo apt upgrade will update all the installed software in your machine. Now, in my case, I need to download 3 megabytes. And after this operation, it will consume 32.8 kilobytes additional disk space. So now it asks, do you want to continue? Right? So if you don't want to continue, you can press N. If you want to continue, you can press either capital Y or you can just press enter. So when you are given this kind of an option, the capital letter means that is the default option. So if you just press enter, which means you have accepted this default option, which is yes. Okay. So I'm pressing enter. So it will download the software and it will install the software updates. So if you encounter such interfaces, you can use the tab to go through the options. Right. So I have updated my system. Right. So let's try to update again to see if there are any updates. No, there are no updates. Try to upgrade. No, these files are kept back, these packages, due to different reasons. But rest of the things up to date. Okay. So is it clear? Press your hands. Okay. Right. So okay, right. Now let's install something new. Let me see what I can install here. Okay, there is a proxy server called Squid. which actually you don't need it actually, but for the to show you as a demonstration how to search and how to install, I will use that. So to search a software, you can use apt search. Let's say you know the software name Squid. So it will give you a list of software that contains the name Squid, right? From that, you can select a particular software. In my case, I need this. So this is a fully features web proxy cache. So let's say I need this, right? So it says the version 5.9 is available for 20.04. And this is the architecture. So if you know it, that's fine. If you don't know it, don't worry about it. So the software name is Squid. I can actually use a different way to filter out this. Now this is a long list now. So what I can do is I can apt search Squid, the same command as previous, and I can use this pipe sign. Have you seen this sign in your keyboard? How many of you have seen this? Raise your hands. Okay, check. There is a key like this in your keyboard. So this is we call pipe sign in Linux. This is the pipe sign. What this pipe sign do is it takes the output of the left hand side of the pipe sign and feed that as an input to the right hand side command, right? So I'm going to use a command grep. Grep is grep is a command used to filter content. So here I'm going to say minus I proxy, minus hyphen I proxy. Hyphen I means don't consider the case sensitivity, and proxy. Proxy is the word I want to search for, right? So write this command and search what this means. By using man page, you can find those information. So what this pipe sign does is it get the output of the left side of the command and feed it as an input to the right side of the command. So output of the left side command is we actually saw it previously, a long list. So let's execute it and it will show you the keyword we search as highlighted content, right? So we can see this with proxy configuration and this package name and so forth. Right? So it shows squid dip proxy, but it doesn't show that. Why is that? Squid. Okay, this line doesn't contain proxy. It only contains here. Okay. So let's make it squid. Okay. And it is like that. Okay. Anyway, the searching thing you can do or filtering thing you can do by using this grep command. So how this pipe works is it gets the output of the left side command and feed it into the right side command. So let's install Squid. So to install it, you have to be the super user, sudo apt install Squid. So this is the command to install it, install the particular software. Right? Sudo apt install Squid. So I'm going to press enter. So then it will again ask, okay, it needs to download this much, and once it installed, this much of additional space will be consumed from your disk. So if you press no, it will abort. So if you press yes, or if you press enter, as yes is the default option, it will start in downloading and then installing it in your system. Right. Any questions up to this point? Any questions up to this point?
Yes, sir, there are so many squid applications there, and we search for the Foxy. But when you install this only squid, is that install all packages? So
It actually, now here, as you can see, when you try to install Squid, it tells that, okay, when you are installing Squid, the following additional packages will be installed. These are dependencies. To run the Squid service or program, you need these, right? So these suggested packages, those will not get installed. So it will show you what are the new packages altogether that will get installed as part of your command, as part of your installation, right? So is that the question you're asking?
yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
So now when you're installing something in Windows, what happens is actually it comes as a bundle, right? So all the libraries, everything is in that particular bundle. So when you install some other software, okay, again those get repeated, or those get conflicted with other libraries and so forth. So it's a mess basically, that installation. Here, all those are separated. So if the library is already there, then it is not going to install it because the dependency is already satisfied. Okay, any other questions?
Yes, if there are multiple packages available in that same name, how we select that particular package to install?
Okay, so let's say we found the package is name Squid, or two packages, one is Squid, one is Squid something. So you can see apt show, let me check, right? I can't remember. Let's say apt show Squid, whether that is the command. Yes. So there's a command called apt show Squid, which gives you the details of that particular package, right? What that particular package is. So there's a package called apt Squid. What is that name? Okay, this package, OpenSSL, app Squid OpenSSL. This says conflicts. So I will tell you what that means. OpenSSL. So it shows you the details about that. And by using this, there is one way of identifying these packages, right? What real this particular package is. Other than that, you can actually, if you don't know about anything about this particular software, then basically you might have to search it in Google or any other repository. Sorry, not repository, any other website, search engine, or particular software developers site to find that. But to get the clues, actually, this is a starting point where you can get some information about it. Now here, the home page is here, right? So you can see that. So this actually this particular package, two packages are by the same vendor. So it conflicts means if you install this, the other one will get uninstalled. If you install that, then this will get uninstalled. So that is why it says conflict. So let's search something else. Apt search graphics. So it shows you graphics related applications available, right? So graphics, grep, photo. It doesn't show anything. Pictures. Okay, it shows some text live thing that is not for you guys. Let's say grep minus site photo. No. Search photo. Grep minus I edit. Photos large collection visualize. Okay. So photo edit. So this is a photo edit manipulation program, image manipulation. Let's say image. Yeah. Likewise, you can give multiple keywords and search this, and it will give you actually a list. Now, in this case, image manipulation, photos. Now there are a set of software that has given. So if you say, let's say, video editing, then it will give you another list, right? So it will give you some description. If you want, let's say, web hosting, it will give you another list, right? If you say web server, then another list. Web server. Apache. So likewise, you can actually tune the search to a certain extent to reduce the list, right? Okay. Any other questions? Any more questions?
Sir, can't we install any third-party applications, sir?
Yes, you can install third-party applications. Then, actually, some of the applications you might not be able to install if it is not supporting the particular distribution. But now in this Ubuntu, actually, the installation files are called deb files. So you go to apt cd hash apt archives. Where is it? Let's see the release files. Oh, I can show you somewhere else. Let me check. Show script. So we can see the package file name here. No, it's not listed here. Anyway, the package file is something like, let us create whatever .deb, right? So that's a Debian package. So this is a Debian based distribution. There are few code distributions that other distributions are depending on. Ubuntu, Debian, Mint Linux, all those are Debian based systems. Then you get Red Hat based systems like Red Hat, Fedora, CentOS, and then SUSE Linux. All those are Red Hat based systems. So that is we call the package management. So I'm not going into that detail because you don't need that details to get these things done. Anyway, if you want to download something separately, what you can do is you can download it and use the command dpkg -i. Actually, you need to be super user, sudo dpkg -i and the file name. Let's say it is in the download directory, and then file name is squid.deb. So this will be the command to install it. But most of the time it won't install. It will say that, okay, this needs these dependencies, right? And it will suggest you to execute few other commands to get it installed, right? So that is another way of installing those things. And there are standalone applications where these libraries and all comes together. So those websites, they give you how you have to install them. So depends on the software that you get, where you get the software from. Actually, the installation is different. But if you are getting something from the repositories configured, then it's basically using apt. You can do that. Oh, let's say some other party, some third party provides a repository, then you can configure the repository in your machine and then use the apt command to install them, right? So there are so many ways, but I'm just telling you the default way of doing it. Any more questions? Any more questions? Right. Okay. So if you don't have questions, we can wind up for the day. And actually, since you are very beginners for this Linux, I will share you a few recorded videos by me regarding Linux commands. So that go through those videos and learn the rest of the commands, try to learn the rest of the commands. And then I will share a document where there are activities. You can actually choose those activities, do those activities to learn Linux more. But when using command line interface, you need to get familiar with some text editors as well. So tomorrow we are going to learn about text editors. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can ask now, or you can leave the session. So I will be here till most of you leave the session. Okay, thank you guys.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.